My sister invaded my house and screamed, "Finally! Now this house is ours!" My parents supported her and demanded that I let her live with me because she's a single mother. I refused and called the police. A year later, she left me speechless when I'm Liam, 32 years old, and after years of dealing with a family that always put my sister above me, I managed to buy my own house. It was something I wanted since I was a kid, a place where no one could tell me what to do or ask me to sacrifice for others. It's not a mansion, just a 2-story house in a quiet neighborhood with a small garden and a porch for drinking coffee. I paid for it with my own effort, working as a data analyst, putting in extra hours. But a week after moving in, everything went to hell. It was Saturday morning. I was unpacking boxes in the living room with music playing when I heard a car screech to stop outside. I looked out the window and saw my sister, Brittany, getting out of an old car with her 5-year-old son, Noah, holding her hand. My parents, Susan and Robert, got out behind her with serious faces. My stomach churned. I hadn't invited them. I barely told them I'd moved. How did they know where I was? Before I could think, Brittany opened the door without knocking. She walked in like she owned the place, Noah clinging to her, and shouted, "Finally, this house is ours!" My parents came in behind her, acting like it was already decided. I stood there, holding a box, unable to believe what I was seeing. "What are you doing here, Brittany?" I asked, trying not to lose my cool. She looked at me with that smile she uses when she wants to get her way. "Liam, relax. Noah and I need a place to live. I'm a single mother. I can't stay in that horrible apartment. This house is perfect and you have space." My parents stepped forward. "Liam, she's your sister," my mom said in that tone she always uses to guilt-trip me. "You can't leave her on the street. It's your duty to help her. And Noah needs a decent home," my dad added. "Don't be selfish." Selfish. That word hit hard. I'd heard it my whole life. I was always the selfish one for wanting something for myself, while Brittany could do whatever she wanted. As kids, if she wanted my toy, I was forced to give it to her. She's your little sister, Liam, share. As adults, if she needed money, I had to lend to her, even though she never paid me back. Now, with a house I paid for, they wanted me to hand it over like it was nothing. "No," I said firmly. "This is my house. I didn't invite you and you're not living here." Brittany rolled her eyes and flopped onto my couch, letting Noah run around the living room. "Don't be ridiculous, Liam. I'm not leaving. We're family." I looked at Noah, playing with a toy truck he pulled from his backpack. The kid's innocent. I've always gotten along with him. But Brittany and my parents use him to manipulate me. "Look at your nephew," my mom said, pointing at Noah. "Do you want him to grow up in a dump? What kind of uncle are you?" That burned me. I spent my childhood and youth giving in to them, putting aside what I wanted to keep the peace, but not this time. This house was mine, my effort. I wasn't letting them take it. "Get out of my house," I said, pointing at the door. "Now." Brittany laughed like she didn't take me seriously. "Stop being dramatic. We're staying and you'll accept it." I repeated, "If you don't leave, I'm calling the police." My parents looked shocked. Brittany just scoffed. "Call the police. See if you dare." I didn't think twice. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911, telling them I had intruders in my house and needed help. While I was on the phone, Brittany and my parents stared at me like I was crazy. Noah kept playing, oblivious. When I hung up, my mom came over with tears in her eyes. "How could you do this to us? We're your family. Family that doesn't respect me." I replied, "I'm not giving in." The police arrived in 15 minutes. 2 officers, a man and a woman, came in and asked me to explain. I told them I bought the house, that my sister and parents entered without permission and refused to leave. Brittany tried to speak, saying she just wanted what was best for her son, but the officers didn't buy it. They told her, my parents, and Noah to leave. "I won't forget this, Liam," Brittany said as she left, her eyes full of hate. My parents didn't speak, but their disappointed faces said it all. Noah looked at me confused and said, "Uncle, why can't I stay?" That broke my heart, but I couldn't back down. I knelt down and said, "Noah, Everything's going to be okay. I'll see you soon, I promise. He nodded, though he didn't understand. When they left, I closed the door and collapsed on the couch. My heart was racing. I felt free, but guilty. My mom's voice echoed in my head. What kind of uncle are you? But I knew I'd done the right thing. For the first time, I put my needs first. That night, I couldn't sleep well. I remember my childhood. We grew up in a small town where Brittany was always a favorite. If she got a good grade, my parents celebrated it like a miracle. If I got a better grade, they barely noticed. Don't get cocky, Liam, they'd say. When Brittany messed up, there were always excuses. She spent the rent money on clothes. She's young. Everyone makes mistakes. She dropped out of college because she didn't want to study. Not everyone's meant for books, Liam. Don't judge her. Me, on the other hand, I had to be perfect. I paid for my college working nights at a supermarket while Brittany borrowed money for emergencies she never explained. When Noah was born, I thought things might change. I bonded with him from day one. He's a sweet, curious kid, always asking funny questions that make me laugh. But Brittany uses him as an excuse. If she needs money, it's for Noah. If she's late, it's because of Noah. And my parents always back her up, telling me to help because she's a single mom. Buying this house was my escape. I wanted a place where I could be myself without their demands. But in 1 week, they tried to take it away. I wonder if I'd ever be free of them, or if what I did would keep them away. I stayed up late staring at the ceiling. I knew Brittany and my parents wouldn't give up easily. That look in Brittany's eyes, that threat, told me this wasn't over. But for now, my house was quiet. I went to the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, and looked out at the garden. It was my house, my life, and I was determined to protect it, no matter what. The following days were nerve-wracking. Every car noise made me look out, expecting to see Brittany's junker parked outside. But they didn't come back. Not right away. I decided not to live in paranoia and focus on my routine. Work, unpacking boxes, making the house my home. I put up shelves, hung some pictures, and bought a plant for the porch. It was my way of staking my claim, saying this place was mine. I didn't want to cut Noah out of my life. He wasn't to blame for his mom's mess. So I contacted Lisa, a friend of Brittany's who I got along with. I told her what happened and asked for help to see Noah without running into my sister or parents. Lisa agreed. Weekends, I'd pick Noah up at her place and take him to the park or for ice cream. The kid talked nonstop about his toys, the TV, anything. Those moments gave me peace, though they always reminded me of the mess my family was. One morning, I got a text from an unknown number. Don't think this is over. It wasn't signed, but I knew it was Brittany. I tried not to let it get to me, blocked the number, and went on with my day. But something told me she wouldn't let me off that easily. A year passed. I settled into my new life. Work was going well. I even got a small promotion that gave me some financial breathing room. The house felt like home, and my outings with Noah were the highlight of my week. But then, one Friday morning, everything fell apart. I checked my bank account as usual to make sure everything was in order. When I logged into the app, my heart stopped. My account was empty. The $40,000 I'd saved, the result of years of work, was gone. I called the bank, thinking it was a mistake. The employee explained in a cold voice that the money had been transferred to various foreign accounts in small amounts over the past few weeks. 3 loans totaling $25,000 had also been opened in my name. Loans I never requested. I was in shock. I asked for more details, but she said I needed to file a police report to investigate further. I hung up, my head spinning. How did this happen? Who had access to my account? I went to the police station that same day and filed a report. The officer, an older guy with a bored face, told me these frauds were common but tricky. Foreign accounts are a mess, he said. If you have any idea who it might be, speak up. These cases are usually someone close. His words hit hard. I didn't want to believe it, but I thought of Brittany. Her threat, that text from a year ago, everything pointed to her. I didn't sit still. A work friend recommended Mick, a private investigator who used to be a cop. I called him that afternoon. Mick was straightforward, about 50, with a deep voice that inspired trust. I told him about Brittany, how she barged into my house, how my parents always backed her, and my suspicion that she was behind this. Mick took notes and asked for my bank statements and emails. "I'll look for traces," he said. "If it's your sister, she left tracks." While Mick worked, I tried not to lose it, but things got worse the following Monday. I got to work, and my boss, Paula, called me into her office. Her face was serious. "Liam, I got an email from you on Saturday," she said, showing me her laptop. "You insulted co-workers, me, even a client. Explain this." I looked at the screen in disbelief. It was an email from my work account, full of profanities. "Paula, I didn't write that," I said. "Someone hacked my email." She frowned. "It's hard to believe, Liam. It came from your account. And it's not just this. Others got similar messages." I tried to explain, but she wouldn't listen. "I'm sorry," she said. "You're fired." I left in a daze. In 1 week, I lost my savings and my job. I checked my email and saw the message sent at 2 a.m. Saturday. I hadn't touched my laptop that day. Someone accessed my account and did it on purpose. It wasn't hard to guess who. That night, I sat in the living room with a beer, trying to think. I called Mick and told him about the email. "This isn't just theft," he said. "They want to destroy you." He asked for access to my laptop to look for traces. While talking to him, I remembered Brittany's voice. "I won't forget this, Liam." It was burned into my head. Mick called me the next day. He found a name on one of the foreign accounts. Daniel Carter. I didn't know him, but Mick investigated and discovered he lived near Brittany. Then he sent me a photo from social media. Daniel and Brittany, arm in arm, like a couple. I was furious. It wasn't just Brittany. She had an accomplice. "This was planned," Mick said. "Probably since you kicked him out of your house." He told me Daniel had a record for minor scams, and together they could have hacked my bank and email. But what hurt most was this. There were signs my parents knew something. They didn't anticipate, but they didn't stop her. That crushed me. My parents always loved Brittany more, but letting her ruin me? I couldn't believe it. Mick found messages between Brittany and my mom where she talked about teaching Liam a lesson. My parents weren't innocent. They were complicit by staying silent. I wasn't going to let them win. I hired Sarah, a fraud lawyer Mick recommended. Sarah was young, but had a reputation for being tough. She reviewed the evidence and said we had a strong case, but needed more for the police to act. "We have to be smarter," she said. "We can set a trap." Sarah and Mick came up with a plan. Mick brought in Alex, an ethical hacker he knew. Alex was quiet, but knew his stuff. He found that Daniel used software to create accounts, and that Brittany sent emails from a fake IP. Alex suggested creating a fake bank account in my name with a small balance, making it look real, and sending an anonymous email to Daniel, making him think it was my new account. If Brittany and Daniel tried to hack it, Alex would record everything. I said yes. I didn't want to face Brittany directly. I wanted her to pay for what she did. While Alex set up the trap, I kept seeing Noah. One afternoon at the park, Noah said something that chilled me. "Mom says you're going to learn a lesson, Uncle." He said it casually, not understanding. I asked more, and he said Brittany and Danny talked about me, saying I'd regret it. I recorded it on my phone in case it helped. That recording was key. I gave it to Sarah, who said it could prove Brittany's intent. Alex set the trap, sent the email to Daniel, and within 2 days, he detected an attempt to hack the fake account. Everything was recorded, IPs, software, everything. Mick took the evidence to the police along with my report and Noah's recording. The police acted fast. Sarah called me one morning. "Liam, they arrested Brittany and Daniel for fraud and identity theft. They also summoned my parents as witnesses because they knew about the plan and didn't report it." I couldn't believe it. After a year of tension, watching my life crumble, there was finally some justice. But it wasn't over. Sarah warned me the trial would be tough. Brittany and Daniel would try to weasel out, and my parents would claim they knew nothing. I only recovered part of my money. The rest was gone. I was jobless, with debts that weren't mine and a family that betrayed me. But I felt in control for the first time. I kept going. I saw Noah when I could, making sure he was okay. I also looked for work, sending out resumes, but I knew the fight wasn't over. Brittany was always good at manipulating, and something told me she had one last trick up her sleeve. The months before the trial were a roller coaster. On one hand, I was rebuilding my life. I found a new job as an analyst at a smaller company with a decent boss. It didn't pay as well as my old job, but it was a start. On the other hand, the thought of the trial kept me up at night. Sarah kept me updated. The evidence was solid. Noah's recordings, Alex's logs, the bank transfers. But Brittany was unpredictable, and my parents, though just witnesses, could complicate things with their excuses. One afternoon, while taking Noah to movies, he said something that put me on edge. "Mom says she'll be free soon and you're going to regret it," he blurted out while eating popcorn. I tried not to react, but gently asked what else she'd said. "She has a plan," he said, shrugging. I didn't push him. He was just a kid. But I recorded the conversation, as always, and sent it to Sarah. "This could be useful," she said. "It shows Brittany hasn't given up." Sarah explained that Brittany and Daniel were trying to negotiate a plea deal with the prosecution, claiming they were victims of a misunderstanding and blaming a supposed third party for the hack. My parents insisted they knew nothing, though mixed messages proved otherwise. "They'll try to manipulate the judge," Sarah warned. "But we have enough to counter them. Just stay alert." And she was right. A couple of weeks before the trial, I got an anonymous letter in my mailbox. No sender, but the message was clear. "Drop the charges or you'll pay dearly." The handwriting wasn't Brittany's, but the tone was. I took the letter to the police and Sarah, who added it to the case. Mick suspected Daniel wrote it under Brittany's orders. "They're desperate," he said. "They know the case is strong." Meanwhile, Alex kept digging. He found that Daniel had tried contacting someone abroad to move more money, probably what I hadn't recovered. But the contact cut communication when they learned about the arrests. Alex also found emails between Brittany and a shady lawyer, planning to use Noah to gain sympathy in court. They wanted the kid to say I was a cruel uncle who left him on the street. That infuriated me. Noah didn't deserve to be used like that. Sarah had an idea. Let's use their own game against them. She suggested recording more conversations with Noah, without pressuring him, just letting him talk. So during our outings, I started asking gentle questions, like what his mom was doing or what she said about me. Noah, being a kid, spoke freely. Once, he mentioned that Brittany told him, "Lying a little isn't bad if it helps the family." I recorded everything and gave it to Sarah. She smiled. This is going to be a bombshell in court. The trial day came. I sat in the courtroom, my stomach in knots. Brittany and Daniel were up front with their lawyers. My parents were in the witness row, avoiding my gaze. Brittany looked calm, almost smug, like she thought she'd get away with it. Daniel, on the other hand, was nervous, sweating in his cheap suit. The judge, a woman in her 60s with no-nonsense face, heard the prosecution first. The prosecutor presented the evidence: bank transfers, hacked emails, Alex's logs. Then they played Noah's recording saying Brittany wanted to teach his uncle a lesson. The room went silent. Brittany tried to interrupt, saying it was a lie, but the judge shut her down. Then came the newer recording where Noah talked about the lies Brittany asked him to tell. Her lawyer objected, saying he was just a kid and didn't understand, but the judge wasn't having it. "The minor isn't lying," she said. "His testimony is consistent." When the defense's turn came, Brittany pulled her stunt. She cried, saying she only wanted the best for Noah, that she was a desperate single mother. Daniel backed her story, claiming someone else hacked the accounts. But the prosecutor tore them apart in cross-examination. He showed the messages between Brittany and my parents where she talked about making Liam pay. My parents, when testifying, stammered, saying they didn't know what the plan was. But the prosecutor pressed them, and my mom ended up admitting she knew Brittany was mad at me, but didn't think she'd go that far. The judge didn't buy their excuses. She found Brittany and Daniel guilty of cyber fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. My parents got a fine and probation for not reporting the crime. Brittany and Daniel faced 2 years in prison each, plus restitution. Not all my money came back, but I recovered about $8,000, enough to pay off the fake debts and start over. I left the courtroom with a mix of relief and emptiness. I'd won, but at what cost? My family, who was supposed to support me, betrayed me. As I walked to my car, I saw Noah with Lisa in the hallway. I went over and hugged him. "Everything's going to be okay, little guy," I said. He nodded, but his eyes were sad. He knew his world had broken too. After the trial, I decided I needed a big change. The house, though my refuge, didn't feel the same anymore. Every corner reminded me of the drama, the betrayal. So I put up for sale. With the money I recovered in the sale, I moved to another city 3 hours away. I found a small but cozy apartment and a new job at a tech company. It wasn't perfect, but it was a clean start. I stayed in touch with Noah through Lisa. The Corps allowed supervised visits, and I made sure he had stability. I took him to the park, the movies, or just hung out. I tried to make those moments happy, so he wouldn't feel the weight of what his mom did. But I never spoke to Brittany or my parents again. I blocked their numbers, their emails, everything. I didn't want more of their poison. One night, sitting in my new apartment, I looked out the window. The city was new, full of lights and noise, but I felt at peace. I'd lost a lot, money, my job, my family, but I gained something bigger, my freedom. For the first time, I was living for myself without the chains of others' expectations. I knew Brittany, wherever she was probably still plotting revenge. But I didn't care anymore. I'd learned to protect myself, to set boundaries, and I wasn't going to let anyone take that away again. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments, and subscribe for more daily stories.